I absolutely love the presentation. I love the 555 method. I'll give you one thing that I think we're all grateful for, and it's for your time today. So, could you give us a good example of a retailer doing a great job with their employees?
I get this question a lot. I wish I said everybody, but we don't say that. The one that always comes to mind to me first is Lululemon. I first found them probably 10 years ago, and it was funny because they had these posters that were on the wall, and it was all these empowering snippets, and it was like almost like you would have. Well, you're too young, but we would have had them as book covers when we went to school. You wrap your books with something that looked kind of like this. And so when I asked somebody, well, what is this? And she said, oh, well, every Sunday night we meet as a group to talk about our goals in our lives. And I said, oh, is this a sales meeting? She goes, no, actually, it doesn't have anything to do with Lululemon. I was like, what? And the whole way they built this brand is to empower their employees to think differently about their career path, to think differently about education, and to support them in a myriad of ways. And when you look at the brands who are not shrinking but expanding, I think you come back to culture always, and they know who they are. And yeah, I know they had some stuff with their founder and some different things, but it doesn't matter. The culture was built on how do we make this person better in the time they're with us. So I always look to them. I look at Container Store. I think they've done an amazing job. I think you look at the Starbucks of the world. I think there's a lot of big companies that really don't get credit for it, and that are really doing that hard work of understanding. We're in a time of pandemic that I can't just say, go move this stuff over there, that I really have to take a moment and realize this person is suffering. They're dealing with an elderly parent that they may not have been expecting to deal with. They've also got to deal with kids that are home. And, there's a lot of stress. There's divorces are going up. People are saying, I'm out. I'm too frustrated. I'm too anxious. And just to realize that in that moment, I have the chance to alter somebody's entire day by just saying, I see you, and being honest and open and being supportive, instead of letting us go down that garbage can of social media, which isn't helping any of us,
Right. And I have a follow-up to that question that is, in a time where there's such social change in everything, and there's recent civil unrest over that social change, how do retailers try to sort of walk the line by serving their communities and their consumers while there's such a different, it seems to be such different opinions on the side of an issue? You'll see, and I'll say, point out like Nike, for instance, decided to go one way where other retailers decided, hey, let's stay in the middle of the road. Is there positives and negatives for that, or how do retailers sort of map that?
Well, I'm not here to be anybody's friend, just to tell you what nobody else will. So I think if you understand that young people are by and large progressives, they are looking for how a brand makes the world a better place. They decide whether they're going to spend money with you, they decide whether they're going to work for you, and they decide whether they're going to find a career path with you, which is why you see so many, the Nikes of the world. And in fact, I was in I think the Washington Post the day they announced that, and they had all these people saying, no, never take social, never do that. It's like, I said, it's exactly right. And people who are burning their products, okay. But in the end, they knew exactly who their customer was, and they knew exactly who their employee was, and they were able to deliver on it remarkably. I think the other side we've seen is people take a half-hearted thing for, well, let's just say it was Black Lives Matter. There were people that, came out and said, we support everybody, and then they had nothing to back it up. So I was in New York City not that long ago, and the front of this building, it was a retail store, it was a cosmetics company, and all the models were white. And I was like, really? In 2020, you didn't realize, like, holy crap, this is really what we're talking about, is you're looking at your marketing images, you're looking at social media, you're looking at who we're representing, and understanding that the time for diversity, the time for inclusion probably was several years ago. And there's a lot of catch up you're going to need to do. So I don't think you necessarily have to be out in front of it like Nike is. But if you are a leader of a brand or a groceries chain or your smaller mom and pop, it really doesn't matter. Understand that that's what is going on underneath you. And if you want to be here and be that employer of choice where people are going to, fill out applications and say, yeah, I want to work there and stay and contribute, then you're going to have to give them enough different ways to say, I'm with you, I'm part of that community. And that's got to be organic for your brand. I mean, that's why the C-level shouldn't be all old white guys. Let's just be honest. A lot of CPG manufacturers are really struggling that, somebody's had a tenure. They've been there for 40, 50 years, and I get it. But we've got to make space for other voices. That's what I want you to hear, that we have to find a way to say that, yes, we value it and then take action to live that.
And I think that follows along your message of retail is hope and innovation. And that is part of it. Diversity is part of it. And they really are a guiding light for their communities. So I think that's a big part of it, a big part of your message too. So we also have another one in here. What is the key to keeping employees focused during the pandemic?
Well, I think part of it is to understand, I talk about that ultimate why. First off, you have to understand it. And then I think your employees have to understand, why are you doing this job? It's not to move fruit from the back to the front. There's got to be something more to it. And part of that, I'm a motivational speaker, and people are like, oh, how do you motivate employees? You don't. Reality is, I could put a carrot in front of you, Alec, and jump. You don't like carrots. I don't care how many carrots you put in front of Alec, it's not going to work. So finding what motivates people, but the key to all of it is, I think, don't let the pandemic be the focus of every conversation. I was in a grocery store. I live in upstate New York now, and there was a young woman, and she interrupted the cashier. Must have been either shift supervisor or assistant manager. She was working the register with me, and we're having a pleasant enough time. And this young woman had to come over, and she goes, "That man is not adhering to social distancing, and what should I do?" And she goes, "Well, why don't you just go to another aisle?" And she's like, "Well, and she went into the front of me with that. And I just found myself thinking, there's a training issue, because that's not appropriate. I don't care. That's just not appropriate to walk up, and this is a crisis. You haven't given them the tools. So when you ask, how do we stay focused, understand, is this something that I really need to get bent out of shape about? Because we understand that millennials also are more concerned about the pandemic and what they can catch, particularly when it comes to essential services, than anyone else, and Gen Z. Taking it seriously, but what are the steps when you haven't trained somebody, which goes back to, again, oh, we had our pandemic training. We checked that box. No, it doesn't end. And what are the steps that should happen? And then at the same time, realize that it's easy to get sucked down that idea that it's all about masks. And I get it. There's social media warriors out there that want to just get in your face. We've certainly seen enough videos of that, and somehow, but don't let that define your brand. Your brand is about people connecting with other people and helping them get what they need to live a better life than they would have by shopping with the other guy or gal. If that's your North Star, then how does that all fit together? That's what I would encourage you to be thinking, so that it doesn't become, we are huckled down and we're worried and everything is terrible, to realize that, yes, I was just reading I think I was on LinkedIn this morning, that Hispanic people are more likely to get hospitalization than others, because they are at the forefront of working in a lot of areas where people aren't getting the protections and they aren't having that dialogue. So I would encourage all of you who are watching, that you go through and look at your training and realize that it's not something we did. Every day we've got to think of, how do we give them more tools to protect themselves, but also just mentally.
Okay, I think we have a follow-up to one of the first questions was, how do retailers take that first step with their employees regarding diversity or cultural issues? I know, as we all know, retailers represent the communities they operate in. It's one of the most diverse industries out there. But how does a retailer take, as an employer, it's tough having those cultural questions or social questions. How do they take that first step?
It absolutely is. Well, my dad was a civil rights pioneer. He marched with King and did an awful lot of things in Toledo, Ohio, not too far away from a lot of you out there. And And I wrestle with it as well, because the easy answer is you listen. The easy answer is people have to feel that they can see leaders in the organization who look like them, that it's safe to have stories of people like them. And I think it's for the long time we've said, oh, we'll tell a story of how we help some homeless person or we've done something, but we haven't really looked at how do we have that conversation. In fact, on my podcast, Tell Me Something Good About Retail, Deanna was my last guest on episode 416. You can find it on Apple Podcast or whatever Tell Me Something Good About Retail. Look at my last episode 416. And Deanna and I had a 30-minute conversation about this. So I think there's a lot of tips in there that certainly would help you as well. There's not an easy answer. It's difficult. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. Everybody comes to it from different places, but make no mistake, if your attitude is to be curious, how do I bring more people into the table? I think you're going to get there. It starts with the C-level leaders realizing and just take accountability, like, okay, well, I haven't been doing this, or I've dismissed this, and instead of coming at it like, we have to solve this, realize this is going to be, it's going to be faster than you want it to be. I'll tell you that, because these younger generations are coming up and demanding it. And if you don't get it, they're simply going to be gone. And that makes the whole problem even worse because you're not inviting those voices. Don't get me wrong. I've had dialogue with people who were so progressive and they were telling me that, all of these different things, like, that's way far ahead. But our common ground is what we start from, and just say we're more alike than different. We're all sitting around the campfire wishing somebody would hear our stories. If we can find a way to dialogue with that, I think it's a good place to start.
Leaders lead, and retail is leaders in the community. So that's a first step, and just part of our job here in Illinois is reaching out to those lawmakers, and they say the same thing. Just ask the question. That is the best first step, right? Like you said, just listen, ask the question. We're changing gears here real quick. What would you recommend to do differently in merchandising this holiday season with everything that's going on?
It's funny you say that, because I woke up this morning thinking about that before my speech here. And I get this is going to be like totally contrary to probably everyone listening, but it fits into everything I would do if I was doing a grocery store. And again, I know we have big boys, we have smaller mom and pops, everything, but where you're missing it is the wants. You are still caught up in needs, which is toilet paper and everything else. I think there is a certain amount of, the reality, what was it, 4 months of supplies out in 2 weeks. I mean, I get it. You have dealt with it and you got supply issues. But I would encourage you to cut that middle aisle open and put a lot more wants in there. And I'm not like, oh, we've got a fake Santa for a $99. That's not it. But it's grab and go. It looks better than what you've ever merchandised before. What I'm telling every retailer is I would find a way. If it was me, I would cut that middle aisle. I know, but we can't do it. You win. But if you could, and you could end up running some colored lights in the middle of it, and you could end up putting signage that was like, these calories don't count, or Santa, Santa's not buying much except these, or anything that would pick up my attention and go like, oh, yeah, I could take that. But we don't do that because we got so caught up in supply chain and price and promotion. I think you missed the top end, which is, why the hell not buy a $20 cheesecake tonight? Well, it won't sell in our market. You're right, because what you're doing is you're treating it like it's a $1.99 half off bakery item, and there's a million of them and they don't look special. Yes, it would be a little bit more to manage, but grocery's already struggling with, we've gotten rid of our grab and go and our buffets and all of those different things. You're not enticing us. Your goal is to enchant and entice us. And I can tell you, if I put a bunch of colored lights down the middle of the aisle, you would get people to come up and down there, and I would get my CPG people to help me out. And yeah, I get it. You could do a fancy thing with, cardboard displays that you've always done, but why not just do something a little more organic? Have a competition, divide that aisle up into thirds, and I remember Ralph's, this is 25 years ago, and they had a competition between their stores for which team could decorate the top of the refrigerated cases for the holidays the best. And it was between all of them. And I remember going into several of them, and they were quite proud. They had given them the materials, and they'd done everything. Esprit de corps was there, and more importantly, customers noticed, and I'm sure sales went up. But that was a lot of work to manage. Again, what's the alternative? Don't do it. Don't make it fun. Don't get something for your employees to feel fun about. Don't build a team. And now you've just got all these islands. And you know what? With a mask on, we're already islands as consumers, as employees. So what can we do to bring that spirit of hope, to make it concrete, and to enchant us? And you have something better than anybody else, which is food. Never forget the power of an appetite. And I don't care whether you're in low income, middle income, high income. We've got to focus on the wants and get out of the needs if you're trying to build margins, which I think most of you are, aren't you? Like,
we have food and we have liquor for the doom scrolling, right?
And why the hell don't you put a champagne aisle in the middle? Why don't you just start from there? But we don't. Oh, if they want champagne, they can go around and figure it out. No. Have a champagne aisle. And not because it's the November 1st. It's like, everybody could use champagne this week, and have a nice sign and do something fun. But we don't do it because, well, that's kind of hard, and moving things, that's difficult, and we're dealing with. And so you tell me all the reasons why you can't, and you win. But I'm saying, if you are listening to me today, and you actually created a champagne display and treat yourself, and the election's over, and every week it's a different fun sign. Why not have some fun in retail again? Why is it the planogram guys won? Why is it the AI is everything, and we're not looking at, but what would be fun? What would be fun? To just walk around the aisle, and there's one of my favorite displays, and I did not show it in this presentation, unfortunately, today. There's a diaper aisle, all right? You go down all the diapers, and then this last little 4-foot section all the way up and down is vodka. And I was like, that was brilliant merchandising. All it needed was a little sign, can't stand another stinky diaper, vodka helps. I would have done that because you watched women go down the aisle and smile when they got there. That's what we're talking about. Why haven't grocery reinvented itself to be fun? Why are we going down the Amazon path that it's just about click and collect and just get what you need and get the hell out? Why don't you make it fun? Well, we haven't thought of it that way. Well, think of it that way, because competition isn't going to get easier for you. And to think that click and collect is the magic wand, like every time somebody touches a product, you lose margin. I don't care what it is. That's why you don't want to end up having to pack the groceries. And what are you going to end up like? I did a whole story last week about Amazon, and now you got me excited. I'm sorry. But a whole thing about Amazon and Whole Foods. And people are online railing about what's happened to the Whole Foods experience because it's all the Amazon shoppers. You're in there with their little vests, and the experience for me as a consumer, why am I paying a premium to go and be bumped by all these other people whose heads down aren't even looking at it? Why aren't you entrancing your best customers anymore? Because we forgot that retail exists to answer customers' question, what's new? Give me something to go home that's new and different, and let me have fun with it. Well, we can't really have fun with that, Bob. Why not? Well, if we just aren't a fun group, it's about, you don't understand. Grocery's different. I can understand retail is different. And that's why the Irma people who are on that aren't just grocers, it's the same message for you. Why the hell did apparel ever get out of being something fun to sell? Why did electronics get out of something fun to sell? Because leadership didn't take the bull by the horns and say it's about being fun and memorable. We've allowed ourselves to think it's about cheaper and cheaper, and we've destroyed the entire customer experience. And now we're looking around the landscape saying, oh, retail's changed forever. No one will be going in. Yeah, no one will be going out of their way to have a bland and boring experience. But we will go out. Imagine it was a noisemaker. Somebody bought a bottle of champagne and some employee just like a little noisemaker after they did. I know it's crazy, it's stupid. Why not? Because we're not thinking creatively. We are down in that hunker mode. And I'm telling you, if you want to survive in 2021, find that fun, find that camaraderie, find that teamwork, And for God's sake, put on your big boy pants and your big girl pants and do something different. Don't just follow what Amazon's doing, so we have to do it here. We need an app so everybody's looking down. No, do something different. Make it exciting for me. All right, I have to pull off my soapbox because
well, Bob, I
dangerous
feel
here,
like
my friend.
you and I
Dangerous.
can talk all day about this and retail issues. I just obviously there's a reason why they call you the retail doctor. This has been phenomenal. I've enjoyed it. I know our members have enjoyed it, so we really appreciate it.